A sudden, indefinite ban on a critical element used in global manufacturing, a national security threat declared on commercial aircraft imports in the United States, and over 2,500 new industrial policies introduced to reshape global markets in a single year. Welcome to This Week in Trade.
Welcome to This Week in Trade, bringing you a quick roundup of the latest international trade news and analysis from Goidel Limited's director, George Riddell, and the Geneva Trade Platform.
Hello and welcome. Today we're unpacking the main international trade developments. Let's begin with the major power plays coming out of the United States and China. On July 9th, US President Trump issued a proclamation under a Section 232 investigation, officially determining that imports of commercial aircraft, jet engines, and associated parts threaten to impair US national security. Now, the administration hasn't yet imposed tariffs on these goods. Instead, the Department of Commerce and the Office of the US Trade Representative have been directed to negotiate agreements with trading partners to address these identified risks, and with a progress update mandated within 180 days. This is a welcome pause in a trade dispute going back decades regarding subsidies to large aircraft between Airbus and Boeing. Both the UK and the EU recently announced that they would continue suspending their retaliatory measures in this dispute. Meanwhile, on July 10th, China's Ministry of Commerce and the General Administration of Customs announced a temporary export ban on helium, effective immediately. The authorities stated this ban was adopted under China's foreign trade law and will apply until further notice. Helium is absolutely essential for manufacturing semiconductors, fiber optics, and operating medical equipment. If your manufacturing processes rely on Chinese helium exports, your supply chain is already compromised. Businesses in the tech and medical sectors need to activate alternative sourcing contracts immediately to avoid production halts. Now, let's pivot to Europe, where the focus remains heavily on environmental and supply chain compliance. The European Parliament continues to push forward with the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or CBAM. On the 6th of July, the ENVI Committee adopted reports to expand CBAM downstream. The revised text takes a much harder line than the initial Commission proposal. It further expands the scope, removes the controversial temporary exemption clause, and strengthens anti-circumvention measures. Additionally, the committee adopted a report on a new decarbonization fund that would now explicitly support certain European exporters. A plenary vote on both reports is expected in September. Separately, the Commission is working out the practicalities of CBAM, launching a consultation on rules for a common central platform that will handle the sale, repurchase, and payment processing of CBAM certificates. Alongside this, the European Commission has adopted refined acts for the EU Deforestation Regulation, or EUDR, which takes effect at the end of this year. The scope of affected goods has seen significant adjustment, with cattle hides, retreaded tires, soybeans for sowing, rubber articles, belts, and vehicle seats all being removed. However, if your business deals in soluble coffee, palm oil derivatives, or frozen cattle tongues, you're now firmly in scope. They've also clarified exemptions for samples, waste, packaging, and pharmaceutical manufacturing inputs. For businesses importing into or exporting out of the EU, the regulatory landscape continues to evolve. With the expansion of CBAM, heavy industrial importers need robust carbon accounting ready sooner rather than later. On the EUDR side, the new information system will offer simplified declarations for micro and small operators and upgraded APIs. However, large food, beverage, and agricultural businesses should continue to audit their supply chains against a newly defined scope to ensure compliance is ready for the end of this year. It's not all restrictions and red tape, however. We have some highly significant liberalizing news out of Europe as well. On the 13th of July, the UK and Switzerland successfully concluded negotiations on an enhanced free trade agreement. This is a massive win for the services sector. The deal includes the UK's most comprehensive digital chapter to date, which guarantees free data flows and prohibits data localization requirements. It introduces permanent business mobility arrangements, allowing UK professionals to work in Switzerland for up to 90 days per year without needing a permit. Furthermore, market access is being locked in for sectors like legal services, financial services, accountancy, and consultancy. Crucially, this features a ratchet mechanism, meaning any future market liberalization can't be reversed. The agreement also introduces several first-of-their-kind commitments for Switzerland. This includes a standalone consumer protection chapter, restrictions on nationality requirements for senior managers and board directors, and a dedicated innovation working group for emerging technologies. UK firms will also gain access to Swiss government procurement sectors previously reserved for the EU. On the goods side, expect targeted tariff reductions on items like sheep meat and sparkling wine, alongside faster custom release times, generally 48 hours or just 6 hours for perishables. This is a landmark deal if you run a UK consultancy or financial institution operating in Switzerland. Just got significantly cheaper and less bureaucratic with the 90-day visa-free mobility and restrictions on nationality rules for senior leadership. The guaranteed data flows will provide vital legal certainty for cross-border digital services, plus businesses should immediately review Swiss government procurement tenders that were previously out of reach. Finally, let's zoom out to a broader global architecture. The World Trade Organization continues to face mounting pressure for reform, specifically regarding the explosion of state intervention. According to IMF figures cited in a recent UK WTO reform proposal, over 2,500 new industrial policies were introduced globally in 2023. A staggering 71% of those policies were assessed as being trade distorting. The EU also submitted a paper highlighting a massive regulatory gap regarding state enterprises. They noted that over 200 of the world's 500 largest firms are now state-controlled, up from just 50 back in the year 2000. We're firmly in the era of heavy state intervention. Businesses can no longer rely on traditional WTO rules to maintain a level playing field, as countries actively subsidize their domestic industries. Businesses should be factoring this subsidized competition and geopolitical fracturing into their long-term strategic planning. That wraps up our dive into the most critical trade developments this week. Catch you next week.
Those are the headlines from This Week in Trade. To go deeper, check out more comprehensive breakdown of these and other developments on Georgia's LinkedIn. This is a new series we'll be looking to evolve and expand based on your feedback, refining what we're presenting, and adding new voices. Let us know in the comments below and via the contact form on GTP's website how we can make this a more relevant and useful accompaniment to your coffee.